Here's your wrestling news for May 30th, 2023, and we're kicking off today with Raw, as going into last night's show, all attention was on the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins. Rollins' historic win at Night of Champions marks the end of a near 4-year title drought for him, and it was fitting that the show opened with him. Having Rollins enter through the crowd was a very nice touch for the man who wants to be a champion of the people, and was reminiscent of Seth's days with The Shield. Seth said a lot in his promo, which ultimately boiled down to him being proud to be champion, and AJ Styles made an appearance to congratulate the champ. When the Judgment Day made their presence known, albeit without violence, the main event was set, which saw Rollins and Styles defeat Finn Balor and Damian Priest. As usual, Rhea Ripley and Dominik Mysterio were at ringside, and there was a fun spot of Rollins embracing Ripley, who, without looking to see who it was, mistook him for Dom. As for long-term plans, WWE gave no real indication of who Rollins' first challenger will be, as the match with the Judgment Day simply seemed to be a one-off match and not the kickoff of a feud. With Money in the Bank drawing closer, WWE will have to begin a fully fledged feud very soon, but what do you make to our new World Heavyweight Champion on this week's episode of Raw? Raw also saw the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships up for grabs, and at long last, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler hold the gold. The titles had been vacated earlier this month by Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez due to Morgan's injury, and from the moment that happened, fans expected Rousey and Baszler to win. Sure enough, the pair of MMA fighters did exactly that, but it was only in the second half of the match that things really started to get going. We couldn't help but notice that even in the second half, nobody seemed all that urgent to win the titles, something that should always be the case when championship gold is on the line. It was in late 2022 that Rousey had spoken of wanting to become a tag team champion, and WWE had originally planned on the win coming at WrestleMania until Rousey's injury changed plans. Interestingly, the win this week saw Rousey force Shotzi to tap out, the same person she forced to submit at WrestleMania in the Women's Showcase 4-Way Tag Team match. While this doesn't speak especially high of how WWE views Shotzi, the months of plans for Rousey and Baszler to become champions are now a reality. And do you think this team was the right call on Raw? More from Raw now, as with Night of Champions in the history books, all attention now turns to Money in the Bank, which will take place on July 1st at the O2 Arena in London, England. As usual, the show will feature 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches, one for the men and one for the women, and this week's Raw saw some of the names be confirmed. The first qualifier on Raw saw Ricochet get a victory over The Miz and punch his ticket to London, while Shinsuke Nakamura bested Bronson Reed to earn his spot in the men's ladder match. While several names have been rumored for the men's ladder match in recent weeks, Ricochet and Nakamura weren't among them. And who else do you want to see in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match? When Vince McMahon returned to WWE in January, fans and talent were immediately concerned and feared that he would once again take over WWE's creative team. Those fears were only elevated after the disastrous post-WrestleMania 39 edition of Raw, which had heavy McMahon involvement, but since then, the chairman has kept a respectful distance from TV. This week, though, we learned that while McMahon may physically be distant, he's never that far away, as Fightful Select reports that the executive chairman has been making changes to shows. The report explains that McMahon has been making changes remotely and has made heavy alterations in recent times, despite Vince not being at TV since the WrestleMania Raw. With that said, some talent told Fightful that they have had more flexibility as of late, despite McMahon still having influence over the shows. The report also states that morale within WWE has been especially high as of late, with many saying the recent tour of Europe was the most fun they'd ever had with the company. Sources who spoke to Fightful did admit that things have indeed been more relaxed recently, but they are still on guard just in case the executive chairman makes a bizarre booking decision. While Triple H is officially in charge of WWE's creative, his father-in-law does have the power to overrule him. And have you noticed any booking decisions that seem to come from Vince? Let us know in the comments. At WWE's Night of Champions, Cody Rhodes passed out in Brock Lesnar's Kimura lock, and the Beast Incarnate was awarded the victory. For Lesnar, this win wasn't just decisive, but was sweet payback for Cody getting the win at Backlash, and the two are far from through with each other just yet. When Ringside News asked about the feud, a source within WWE's creative team didn't say much, but confirmed that a third match between the two is in the works. It's unclear when this feud will take place, as while WWE's next major event will be Money in the Bank, many predict WWE will hold off and have the third match play out at SummerSlam in August. We'll have to see where the Cody-Lesnar feud goes from here, as the pair have shown they have chemistry in the ring, and the duo will be stepping into the ring again when the time is right. Night of Champions also saw Becky Lynch lose to Trish Stratus, albeit thanks to the interference of Zoe Stark, and the man was left worse for wear after the match. Lynch's match with Trish resulted in the former Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion wearing the proverbial crimson mask, leaving some to worry about her immediate future. Fans haven't forgotten the image of the bloodied Lynch posing with the fans in 2018 after being busted open by Nia Jax, but unlike last time, Lynch didn't suffer a concussion in Jeddah. When Ringside News asked about Lynch's condition, they were told that she'll be okay, and sources within WWE were quick to refute the rumors that she suffered a broken nose. Lynch and Stratus are expected to collide once again, presumably at SummerSlam, and while the man was left looking rough after Night of Champions, she isn't expected to miss any ring time. Now, it was in July of 2022 that Bayley returned to TV after a year away with an injury, but she returned alongside the rehired Dakota Kai and the called-up Io Sky. Since then, Damage Control have been a consistent presence on TV, but the group and its members always seem to come up short when it matters, as we saw at WrestleMania and Backlash. For weeks, there have been tensions in the group, and while plans for a split have seemingly been put on hold while Kai is out injured, don't expect Damage Control to be around for much longer. That's according to BWE, who reports that WWE have had long discussions about Io Sky branching off, which was already being teased prior to Dakota Kai's injury. The report adds that in addition to Sky going it alone, there have been discussions about Dakota reuniting with Tegan Nox, who has gone very underutilized since her return to WWE so far. As for Bayley, who has been wanting a heel stable for years, there's no word on what WWE has in store for her, but the big question now is whether Damage Control will be done before or after Dakota Kai returns. And we're ending with AEW's Double or Nothing, as Max Caster had a particularly scathing line during the broadcast. During his entrance, the acclaimed star took shots at the House of Black and said that Buddy Matthews is getting cucked by some kid named Dominik. This is of course a nod to Matthews' real-life partner Rhea Ripley being in an on-screen relationship with Dominik Mysterio, and didn't go unnoticed by the WWE superstars. In a tweet, Ripley said how she and Mysterio are now over in 2 companies, and Dominik used a Fresh Prince gift to show off his agreement with his mommy. Dominik and Ripley have proven to be hits on WWE TV, as the reaction from crowds have shown time and time again, and now the pair are also getting quite the reaction in AEW.